The WNBA most fouled rookie in history was Caitlin Clark. She was targeted by seasoned gamers as if she had stolen something from them. She soon saw that being famous from college meant nothing in this situation. They intended to break her, but she stunned everyone by doing something different. She changed her body entirely, and the world was astounded by what they saw when they saw the results. They don't want you to know this terrible tale. She was born in Des Moines, Iowa on January 22, 2002. Caitlin Elizabeth Clark was her name. Out of her three siblings, she was the middle child. Everything about her would be shaped by her placement directly between an older brother and a younger one. Life had been a contest from the start. She was constantly struggling to keep up, to win, to prove herself at home in West Des Moines. Her parents, Brent and Ann, were unaware that the girl would change the course of sports history one day while she was bouncing a basketball around the house. Caitlin's father was a collegiate baseball and basketball player. Her granddad was a football coach. It was in the blood to do sports. Caitlin was more than simply an athlete, though. Winning was her obsession. She could dribble as if she had been doing it for years, even at the age of 5. Whether it was a board game or a school project made no difference. She desired victory. Always, that fire didn't go out. At times, it became unmanageable. During a fight, she once threw her brother against a wall. His head broke open. So many fights like that have to be broken up by their mother. Her skill set extended beyond basketball. Actually, basketball wasn't the primary focus at first. In just 6 high school soccer matches, she scored 26 goals. In soccer, her coach thought she may have advanced to Division I. She also played golf, softball, tennis, and volleyball. She was also a pianist. Basketball was more important than anything else, but Caitlin could have done anything. When she began, there was no girls' league for her age. Thus, her father placed her in a males' league. To be on the court, she had to struggle. It strengthened her. She was a member of the All-Iowa TAC AU team in Ames by 6th grade. Everything altered as a result. Even though she was only 13, she was already competing with older girls. She hit a step back 3 and then threw a pass that went untouched but precisely intended, according to one coach. After a victory, according to that same coach, the majority of kids would go for ice cream. That didn't matter to Caitlin. All she wanted was to win more games and play harder. That was the beginning of it all. She stunned everyone by the time she was a junior at Dowling Catholic High School. Caitlin scored 60 points in a single game on February 4, 2019. She made 13 three-pointers and scored 25 points in the first quarter alone. In Iowa's history, that was the highest. After the game, even the opposing team's student section waited in line for autographs. She was the state's top scorer at the end of her junior year, and she repeated the feat the following year. She averaged 33.4 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, and almost 3 steals a game as a senior. She finished 4th all-time in Iowa with 47 points in 2005. In addition, she set a new record for the most three-pointers made. She scored 42 points in a triple overtime victory at the state tournament on February 25, 2019. That season, she guided Dowling Catholic to a 19-4 record. She received the titles of All-Iowa Athlete of the Year, Gatorade Player of the Year, and Miss Iowa Basketball. By that time, her basketball career was already legendary. Then November 25, 2020, arrived. The stands were almost deserted. The attention was drawn on Caitlin Clark, an 18-year-old student, despite COVID keeping the fans away. A memorable event took place inside Carver Hawkeye Arena in Iowa that evening. Caitlin shot 58% from the field, scored 27 points, pulled down 8 rebounds, and had 4 assists. From the opening possession, she dominated the game. She was the greatest player on the court, even though it was her first game. There was also a statement from her defense. She demonstrated that she could stop plays as readily as she could create them with 3 steals. Years later, she would run for a national championship alongside her teammates from that night, Gabby Marshall, Kate Martin, McKenna Warnock, and Monica Zenano. However, it was evident that first night, Clark Caitlin was Iowa basketball's future. 4 weeks later, she took an even more unusual action. In a match against Western Illinois on December 22, she achieved her first triple-double of the season. She only made 3 of 15 shots from the field that night, yet she still managed to score 13 points, pull down 13 rebounds, and send out 10 assists. However, she made adjustments rather than giving up. She concentrated on creating play. A deft pass to Logan Cook inside the paint was her last assist, which completed the triple-double. Since 2015, when Samantha Logic last achieved a triple-double, Iowa had not seen a performance like this. Coach Lisa Bluter was aware of the rarity of what she was witnessing. Triple-doubles are unique, she noted, and they don't happen very often. Nevertheless, in her first month of collegiate basketball, Caitlin succeeded. Caitlin's response to the question was even more remarkable than her statistics. I basically wanted to motivate others because I wasn't shooting the ball well. That's hardly the attitude of a freshman. That person is a leader. Then February 11th arrived. Caitlin entered Nebraska's home rink and took the single-game scoring record with her. She finished with 7 assists, 10 rebounds, and 39 points. She made 12 of her 18 shots from the field. From the free throw line, she was flawless. She completed everything. She set Nebraska on fire from all sides. She had also surpassed 600 points for the season at the end of the game. That had only been accomplished by 4 other Iowa players in history. However, this was not a single sweltering evening. Caitlin was scoring more points than anyone else in the country. She was only a freshman, too. That has never been done by anyone in Division I. Not one male or female freshman. Prior to the game against Nebraska, her average was 29.8 points. She was the fire, not simply on fire. She had changed the record books by the end of the season. She ended with 30 games and 799 points overall, 26.6 points per game, that is. In a single season, no freshman had ever scored more points. Not only in Iowa, but across the nation, she was the top scorer in Division I. She was second in assists per game, first in field goals, third in three-pointers, and first in points per game. She wasn't only a three-point shooter. She was producing them at an unprecedented pace. In 30 games, she made 116 three-pointers. Almost 4 every game, that is. No freshman had ever done that before. She scored at least 30 points in 12 games. It hadn't occurred since the year 2000. In addition, she finished with the 3rd highest single-season point total in program history and broke Iowa's freshman scoring record. The only one who had scored more was Megan Gustafson, and that was in her latter years rather than her first. Not only did she earn Freshman of the Year in the Big Ten, the award circuit was dominated by her. Throughout the season, she received 23 Big Ten awards. She received the Freshman of the Week award 13 times. She became the only freshman in history to win Player of the Week 5 times. It wasn't by coincidence that she made the All-Big Ten first team. Coaches and the media unanimously selected her. She and UConn's Paige Buchers split the National Freshman of the Year honor. In doing so, she became the first Hawkeye to win National Freshman of the Year. In Big Ten competition, she averaged 27.7 points and 6.6 assists per game. In 9 conference games, she scored 30 points or more. She also scored more than 20 in 8 more. Her performance not only garnered media attention, but it also helped Iowa regain its place in the national race. The team advanced to the championship of the Big Ten competition and made it to the NCAA Tournament Sweet 16. They made their 3rd appearance in 4 years and their 8th overall in the Sweet 16. No one in Division I men's basketball had ever done what Caitlin Clark did in 2021, her sophomore year. She was the top scorer and assister in the entire nation. She averaged 8 assists, 8 rebounds, and 27 points per game. Most athletes aren't even able to lead in one area. Clark simultaneously led in 2. It had never been balanced like that. The goal was for scorers to score. Passers were expected to make it through. However, Caitlin Clark disregarded such guidelines. She did everything. The number of points she earned wasn't the only thing that startled onlookers. It was the number of assists she received while performing it. Leading and scoring and dishing out 8 assists each game? That upended all preconceived notions about basketball roles. Defenders gave her all of their attention. It made no difference if there were double or triple teams. As if it didn't matter, she continued to set up teammates, find them wide open, and thread impossible passes. Her ability to pass was sometimes even more remarkable than her ability to score. She performed as though she was playing with eyes in the back of her mind. She forced defenses to guess, and they were consistently incorrect. The pressure increased along with her stats. Other teams were aware that their standard defense would not be enough to stop her. They thus became tangible. They pulled on her jersey, bumped her, and shoved her. There were defenders who went above what was even permitted. To wear her down, coaches created whole game strategies. Shot after shot, possession after possession. Nevertheless, she continued. She resurfaced stronger each time they attempted to knock her down. It was no longer merely skill. Grit was the substance. They couldn't break her mental resilience. A larger thing began to take shape while all of this was going on. Suddenly, Iowa basketball was being watched by people across the nation. Not just Big Ten supporters, not just local fans, everyone. TV viewership increased. Reporters began to arrive by plane. The games are sold out. She improved the sport as a whole, not just her team. People watched because they were curious about her next move, and her actions never let me down. Everything blew up by 2023. Since 1993, Iowa had not advanced to the Final Four. When Caitlin Clark ended a 30-year drought on March 26, that changed. She dominated rather than merely led. She finished the competition with 191 points. It's not a typo. 191. She averaged more over 30 per game. It wasn't just her either. Monica Sonano and McKenna Warnock, two of her teammates, stepped up. Everyone was at their best because of Clark. She wasn't finished when she reached the Final Four. In the Elite Eight, she scored a triple-double of 41 points against Louisville, 41 points, 10 rebounds, and 12 assists. In the history of the NCAAs, neither the men's nor women's teams had ever done it. Despite being her 11th triple-double, this one felt unique. She made deep threes. She navigated amid throngs of people. Like a magician, she got by. She gave the impression that it was simple. She managed to dominate even when triple-teamed. The statistic that stuck the most? Of Iowa's 97 points, she either scored or assisted on 70 of them. Then come the unbeaten reigning champions, South Carolina. 36 hours. Nobody thought they would lose. However, Clark stunned the world once more on March 31st. 6 rebounds, 8 assists, and 41 more points. In the fourth quarter, she either scored or assisted on every single point. The entire season was turned upside down by the game. For 42 games, South Carolina had not lost. Then came Clark, her confidence, her crisp cuts, and her trademark threes. Even the nation's top defense was left reeling. Caitlin Clark was only one game away from realizing all of her childhood dreams on April 2, 2023. The ultimate prize is the national championship. But heartbreak marred what ought to have been the high point of her illustrious collegiate career. LSU defeated Iowa 102-85. Although it appeared that LSU would win easily on paper, the reality was far more difficult to swallow. To get her team there, Clark had endured everything. She had just days earlier led Iowa to the championship game with consecutive 41-point performances. She broke a championship record set in 1990 with 8 three-pointers in that final game. Even with her 30 points, it was insufficient. Her expression said it all as the buzzer sounded. Her ambition had slipped away despite her best efforts. Her senior year followed. Anyone who believed that she would be slowed down by the loss was mistaken. On the evening of February 15, 2024, everything changed. When Iowa played Michigan, Clark only needed 8 points to surpass Kelsey Plum's 3,527-point NCAA scoring record. She made a deep three from the logo 2 minutes into the game. The audience erupted. She became the top scorer in NCAA women's history with that shot. She didn't stop there, though. She let up 49 points, the most Iowa had ever allowed in a game. She also contributed 5 rebounds and 13 assists. In her 126th game, she accomplished everything. Quicker than Plum's score of 139. She scored 3,569 points overall that evening. She wasn't done yet, but she was already a legend. They broke a 54-year record on March 3, 2024 against Ohio State in a crowded venue. With 3,067 points, Pete Maravich had the highest total in Division I history. To pass him, Clark needed 17 more. The average cost of tickets was $598. The whole nation was observing. She made a free throw late in the first half. She became the highest-scoring player in NCAA history with just 1 point. Women's or men's, she hardly responded. It wasn't until the audience surged that she realized what she had done. She scored 35 points by the end of the game. Officially, it was. Pete had lost his record. At the summit, Caitlin Clark was now by herself. Perhaps just as memorable, though, was what transpired off the court. An unprecedented initiative was started by Fox Sports. They produced the Caitlin Cam, a live video feed that is exclusively focused on her. It tracked her every offensive move while streaming on TikTok. It was more than simply athletics. It was a moment of culture. All throughout the nation, her performances were sold out. Record-breaking TV ratings were achieved. Individuals who had never previously watched a women's game became enthralled. Quick passes, deep threes, and that intense stare. She had a magnetic personality. She wasn't merely playing hoops. She was altering it. She performed something that no one in history had ever done just when it appeared like she had accomplished everything. She may have given her best effort to date in the Big Ten tournament final versus Ohio State. 30 points, 17 assists, 10 rebounds, and the first ever triple-double in Big Ten championship history in the championship game. Furthermore, this triple-double wasn't your typical one. Over the previous 20 years, no other player, male or female, had ever recorded 30 points and 15 assists in a single game. She did it in style, shooting more than 52% from the field and making 5 three-pointers. The class was masterful, her 10th triple-double in a career. In history, only one woman possessed more. Now that everyone was watching her, she went back to the NCAA tournament. Everyone was aware of the stakes. No women's national championship had ever been won by Iowa. The previous year, Clark had been so near. This was her final opportunity. She brought that burden with her to every match. The eagerly anticipated rematch then took place. In the Final Four, UConn met Iowa. She was shut down by UConn for the first half hour. However, Clark took over when the game was tied in the fourth quarter. In 2.5 minutes, 7 points were scored. Iowa prevailed 71-69. Her score was 21. Hannah Stuelk, a teammate, contributed 23. Among the greatest college games ever played was this one. Iowa returned to the national championship with that victory. Caitlin Clark was selected first overall by the Indiana Fever on April 15, 2024. It was expected. Everyone anticipated it. However, nobody could have foreseen the impact. Already, she was the highest scorer in NCAA Division I history. In a single season, she had set records for both assists and points. However, the pressure only increased after she joined the WNBA. The excitement surrounding her blew up. During her debut season, she received over 700,000 votes for All-Star status, the highest ever. Sales of her jersey increased by more than 1,000%, making it the league's best-selling item. The throng followed her wherever she performed. When she played in games, attendance increased by 88%. The Caitlin Clark effect was the name given to it. It was unprecedented in the league, but the attention came at a price. Her May 14, 2024 debut didn't go as expected. She had more turnovers than any other player in her would debut, despite scoring 20 points. It was war, not nervousness. She was targeted by seasoned players who wanted to prove she deserved her spot. During a game versus Chicago, Chinody Carter struck her with an off-ball hit so forceful it was deemed a flagrant foul. And that was only the start. With 5.4 turnovers per game, she was the league leader. She had the most turnovers in WNBA history at the end of the season, with 225. Due to injury, she also missed 10 games. That was startling. Throughout her tenure at Iowa, she had never missed a game because of an injury. Her body was already deteriorating after just one professional season. In addition to being quicker, the league was more difficult, cruel, and unforgiving than anything she had ever encountered. She still wouldn't fold, though. As if it were her job, she broke records. She finished with 337 assists on August 18, 2024, breaking the rookie assist record. It was more than a rookie record. In a WNBA season, it was the greatest total ever for a player. She ignored the long-standing mark left by Ticha Penatero. The points followed. She scored 769 points at the end of the season, more than any other rookie. She also broke Ryan Howard's previous record with 122 three-pointers. She contributed 19 assists in a memorable game against the Dallas Wings, totaling 66 points from assists and scoring. Diana Taurasi's 2006 single-game record was broken by that. There were the triple-doubles after that. She became the first rookie in league history to record one on July 6, 2024. Her stats were 13 assists, 12 rebounds, and 19 points. She repeated the feat 2 months later with 24 points, 10 rebounds, and 10 assists. That had never been done by a rookie. In just 41 games by her second season, she had achieved 3 career triple-doubles. She was placed in a club alongside icons like Sabrina Ionescu and Candace Parker. As a result, there was no discussion at the end of the season. She received 66 of 67 first-place votes, earning her the title of Rookie of the Year. Angel Reese received the lone additional vote. Additionally, she was selected to the All-WNBA first team, something that has only happened 5 times since 2000. She had more points, assists, steals, and minutes than any other rookie. The figures were honest. She was more than simply the top rookie. Without a doubt, she was among the league's top players. The awards were then presented. She was selected Rookie of the Year by the Associated Press. In December 2024, Time magazine named her Athlete of the Year. 1.8 million people watched her first playoff game, the most since 2000. She changed the game rather than merely playing it. However, there was another tale going on behind the scenes. Caitlin began dating Connor McCaffrey, the son of the men's basketball coach at Iowa, in April 2023. Prior to becoming a coach, he had also played for Iowa. Their romance began in a low-key, nobody knew for 4 months. However, a picture of the two on a boat was shared in August 2023. 3 words, the perfect way to round off the summer. Then everything was different. The internet exploded. All of a sudden, Caitlin was more than just a basketball star. She was one half of a power pair in basketball. They were quiet. However, Connor shared a birthday homage for her 23rd birthday in January 2025. It had the tone of a romantic letter. He praised her as amazing and inspirational and expressed his gratitude for being with her. Fans adored it. Caitlin shared the article herself and replied with a straightforward "love you." Everyone knew this was real at that time. Then, in July 2025, she sent Connor a birthday message. It was brief yet brimming with affection. "Con, you make every day better. Happy birthday, Con." She guided Indiana to a decisive victory the following day. She lived that way, striking a balance between grandeur and elegance. Their careers were expanding rapidly. Connor joined Butler as an assistant coach. Caitlin's temperature continued to set records. They managed to remain close throughout it all. It was powerful yet not ostentatious, and Caitlin's family was there for her through it all. Brent, her father, was also an athlete. In college, he played basketball and baseball. When Caitlin was small, he coached her and immediately saw her uniqueness. Anne, her mother, was a marketing professional. She managed the stress and assisted Caitlin in navigating the commercial aspects of celebrity. She was pushed as a child by her brothers, Blake and Colin. She became smarter, harder, and more competitive as a result of them. Brent attended almost all of Caitlin's games. He was constantly in the crowd when she looked up. Her mother described it as awesome after she was selected App Player of the Year and won the Naismith Trophy in March 2023. The entire family was proud but overwhelmed. Caitlin founded the Caitlin Clark Foundation in October 2023. It raised more than $100,000 in a matter of months. For the community food pantry in Coralville, it also benefited children's diet, schooling, and athletics, even though she hadn't yet participated in a WNBA game. She was already contributing. One image from a Big Ten tournament game between Iowa and Ohio State on March 7, 2025 completely upended the internet. Caitlin Clark was photographed by sports photographer Bree Lewerk as she cheered from the sidelines. She wasn't having fun. She didn't even have a microphone. She was just supporting her former team. However, the picture quickly went viral. Her smile was not the center of attention. Her arms were the focus of their attention. There was a change. She appeared more resilient. Well, someone has been in the weight room? Caption, read. The caption read. And the picture quickly reached over 3.2 million views. Everybody had a viewpoint. She added 15 pounds of pure American muscle, according to her admirers. She appeared capable of benching her own coach, according to one comment. Even well-known athletes joined in. Dave Portnoy was astounded by the change. From a single image, sports blogs sparked a national discussion, and the most outrageous aspect? Caitlyn hadn't mentioned anything at all. Her name went viral for weeks after a single brief flex during a cheer. It was not posted by her. She made no attempt to go viral. However, the response was so strong that ESPN mentioned it in important shows. That was the volume of the moment. After almost a month, Caitlyn finally spoke up. She joined WNBA great Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi on ESPN's Bird and Taurasi show. The desire for an explanation was shared by all those in attendance. Was it authentic? Were filters used? Did she become a bodybuilder all of a sudden? It was the camera angle that made her laugh and smile. And smile. Come on, AI is getting out of hand. The deflection was ideal. After everyone had stopped laughing, she became serious. She acknowledged that she had been exercising diligently. I'm striving to get stronger, she replied. Not just sometimes. I kind of like doing that. I can spend a lot of time there and focus on that aspect of my game with relative ease. Suddenly, the enigma transformed into admiration. It was real. It wasn't overblown. It was merited. However, this went beyond simply changing one's appearance. It was a matter of survival. Caitlyn had a terrible first season in the WNBA. She was stunned by the physicality. She wasn't treated as a newbie by her opponents. They viewed her as a danger. In her first run, she received 111 foul calls. She became the league's most fouled rookie and the 11th most fouled player overall as a result. She drew 4.2 fouls on average per game. Additionally, a lot of those hits were intentionally harsh and intended to convey a message. Everything became quite evident in a single second. Clark was knocked flat on the court after Kennedy Carter struck her with a shoulder shot. Initially calling it off ball, the referees revised their decision to a flagrant one. There was more to it than a simple harsh foul. It served as a warning. Everyone is physical with me, Caitlyn later remarked, and they get away with things that most likely other people don't. She wasn't complaining. She was being honest. There was a target associated with being the face of women's basketball. Additionally, her game and team would suffer if she didn't adjust. Thus, everything was altered by Caitlyn. She partnered with Sarah Kessler, the head athletic performance coach for the Indiana Fevers. It was a serious strategy. Work out in the weight room 4 or 5 days a week. Not merely doing weightlifting. This program was specially created. Exercises involving only one leg will help her leap off the ground. She used to play 2 upright and was smacked around, so isometric exercise helped her stay grounded and balanced. She even began exercising with just one arm. They corrected the weakness in her left arm, which prevented her from making several passes. Hard work, no shortcuts. Creatine was one aspect of the scheme that generated considerably more debate. It was disliked by certain fans. It was questioned by several. That's a natural substance, though. It promotes stronger and quicker muscle growth. Clark was totally on board. She had no intention of impressing social media. She was attempting to get through the season. In a subsequent podcast, Coach Stephanie White stated that she immediately recognized the need to strengthen herself, and she was quite good at concentrating on that. People only saw a portion of that widely shared image. There was a tale of suffering, hardship, and discipline underneath. Caitlyn Clark didn't change in order to get praise. She changed because she was fed up with being ignored, fed up with fouls that went uncalled, fed up with being just another name in the headlines, and fed up with having to change.